get wild. Full house today. Really full house. It's going to be fun from Astros camp. Lots of guests joining us. Joe Espada, Lance McCullers, Hunter Brown. It sounds like we've got another guest joining us in a couple moments in Spencer Arrighetti. Todd Father's here. Kratz is here. Danny Graves over at camp. While we have a quick moment while they're getting set up, Erik, you have to tell your stepbrother congrats, and you have to talk to him differently now. You know the deal.
Go ahead, congratulations, Todd. That is the ugliest picture they could have ever chosen for you, but man, what an awesome, awesome honor. The Hall of Pretty Good. You're a great person, not just good.
I'll take it. I was telling people today, I said, listen, I'm 40 now. I'll take all the accolades and congratulations I can get. So I know I'm pretty good. I'll take that to the grave, to the Danny Graves. How about that?
Ooh.
It's going to be that kind of day.
Oh,
What?
my God.
So wait till he gets to 50. Then it's even less and less.
But yeah, Todd Father made it on the Hall of Pretty Good. Actually, we've got a lot of FT fam that's been running through that list. So it's good stuff, Todd Father. Did you know about it? Did you catch it?
I did.
Going down? You did?
All the 12-year-olds I coach were hitting me up and sending me stuff. Coach, look at this. So that's how I found out. They were excited.
What are they showing you? An Instagram post? Or is that what are the kids showing you?
The Instagram post. Man, did you see this comment, man? And this and that. I'm like, oh, God almighty. We have practice tomorrow, so we'll talk more about it and see if they're really excited of me about being me pretty good. I like great, but pretty good I'll take.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, report back. We'll talk next week about it. Let's get to camp right now. We're going to bring on our next guest, or our first guest here of the show, Spencer Arrighetti, joining us from Astros camp. Danny, you want to take it away for a moment?
Yeah, Spencer, thank you for joining us. Talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling coming in to spring training this year.
I'm feeling extra grateful to be back on the mound, to be real honest with you. Last year was absolutely not what I wanted to be. Obviously, nobody wants to spend most of the year on the IL, but I did the work I needed to do this offseason to feel good again, and I'm feeling ready to go.
Do you feel like you came back early last year?
See, I mean, in the moment, I would have said no, but looking back at it, I think I could have been a little bit more aware of like where stuff was at, where my range of motion and strength in some certain areas was at, and I think if I could go back and do it again, I'd probably give myself another week or so, take another start in Triple H to get things figured out and make sure everything was good. But yeah, I mean, in the moment, I saw a team that was in a hunt for a playoff spot, and I wanted to get back and help. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mindset of everybody. I love that. My question is for you. Your right thumb, it was fractured in 2025. Is there anything that you need to change now, grip-wise, or, maybe throwing something differently, a different arm angle, or is that thing back to where it really needs to be and you're fine?
So I got really lucky. It was a super clean break. It was a really straightforward rehab process with it, and everything feels completely the same as before. So I think that for me, I'm just trying to be exactly who I was before the injury, try to make everything feel the same as it was before. And I've been fortunate enough to not really have to dig too deep to find something new.
Spencer, is it mandatory that you have legit hair to throw in this rotation? Is that mandatory? I mean, I have to be the one to ask about the hair because I'm jelly. I'm super jelly.
I wouldn't say it's mandatory. It's just it's an attribute. That's for sure. That's what we'll call it.
But Jim Crane doesn't come through because when I played for the Astros, Jim Crane came through. It was Dallas Keuchel was there. He had his beard, and he goes, we were in the weight room, and he says, at my other businesses, we wouldn't allow this. We wouldn't allow what Dallas has on his face. And Dallas was like, but I keep it nice. So has Jim said anything to you? I'm sure he said something to Lance over the years.
No, not really. He's pretty hands off with that stuff. I think whatever you want to look like, he's okay with it. And like you said, other businesses, maybe not so much, but for baseball, I think it's all good.
So, okay, to follow up on that, with not just the hair, but is it a prerequisite to be giants to pitch in this pitching staff? And I know I'm just a little guy sitting here, but everybody that's come up here, you, Lance, and Hunter, so far are ginormous.
Man, you haven't even seen the really big guys. You look at Ryan Weiss, you look at Brian Abreu. Those guys are absolute units. Like I feel like one of the smaller guys in the locker room for the most part. And Lance too. Lance has always told me, yeah, like I'm the short guy, I'm the small guy. And it's like, dude, you're not small. Like you're a big dude. But no, it's I wouldn't say it's a prerequisite, but yeah, they definitely like him big over here.
Hey, Spencer, you obviously, were going through your own thing last year, but what did you see from Hunter Brown in his progression? And how cool was that to see a teammate not just rise and figure it all out for a full season, but finish in third for Cy Young? Crazy.
I couldn't be more happy for that guy. So when I got called up in 24, he was kind of in the midst of like the biggest struggle he'd ever faced in baseball. I mean, he was kind of searching for something. Obviously, found the answer in a big way in the two-seam, and then being one of the best pitchers in baseball for a whole year and a half after the fact now is just incredible. I mean, it's a real testament to the way that he works, the way that he believes in himself, the way he believes in his stuff. And I mean, that's what you get every time he takes the mound, is just pure belief in what he's going to go out there and do. He knows he's going to dominate at this point, and it's just, I mean, it feels out of place for me to say proud, because I mean, he's like big brother to me at this point, but I mean, it's been the coolest thing to watch, and I feel like it's an inspiration to a lot of guys that might be in a dark place, kind of weather the storm a little bit on the mound, and you're always that close to being the best version of yourself. And I think that watching him do it has been really, really awesome.
What is this rotation as a group like? Because you got new pieces put into it. You had a different looking rotation before you even came up. It looked different than that. How do you feel like this group is melding, and will there be this, like, always behind each other, always fighting for each other, or is it more of like individuals on each and every day that they're out there?
I'd say it's like you said, a little bit of melding at this point. Obviously, we've only been around each other for about 3 weeks now, but I mean, I've gotten to know Amai a little bit. I've gotten to know Weiss pretty well. I've gotten to know Burrows really well. And I'm just really excited. I think we got a bunch of dogs. I think we got a bunch of guys that want to go out there and compete, and they want to cover their innings. They want to, just give the team what they need every night, which is a chance to win. And I think that we have exactly that in the rotation right now, is a bunch of guys who are going to go out there and take the ball and compete until the manager comes, takes it away from them.
Will you learn some Japanese so that you can talk to Amai a little bit more?
I'm trying. We got a word of the day thing going right now. Every day we walk in, there's a new Japanese word. There's a new Mandarin word. Kai Wei Tang speaks Mandarin as well. So we got a lot of it going on right now. I'm going to be completely honest. None of it is stuck yet, but I'm working on it. I got good morning down because I say it every day to him. He's at the locker right next to me. But past that, I mean, I'm kind of hopeless at this point, but I'll try.
Can you give us the good morning real quick?
Ohio.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, it's just Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm probably saying it wrong. But
are there any other words or phrases that shouldn't be said out in public that you guys have asked for?
Certainly. It's like learning Spanish for the first time. You learn all the bad words first once you get in the clubhouse full of Spanish-speaking guys. And yeah, I've learned a couple bad Japanese words. I definitely won't say those ones on air. But yeah, that's I feel like that's naturally how you learn the new language first, is you learn the ones you shouldn't say.
All right. So one of the things that's talked about outside of your team is, is this guy going to get traded? Is that guy, how's this going to work out? And everyone's like, they have to figure this out, or it's a distraction. Do you feel like as a player on the team, that kind of stuff is a distraction?
I wouldn't call it a distraction. I think it's part of the business, and I know that guys tend to steer away from putting too much stock into any of that, because at this point we're all still here, and we got one goal right now, and that's get ready to go win baseball games. So I think to keep it short, yeah, it is a distraction in a way, but if you don't let it get to you, it never can be. So I think that we got a bunch of guys that are committed to being here. Nobody's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Everybody's bought in on what we're trying to do this year. So I don't really think anybody's thinking too much of it.
Hey, go ahead, Kratz.
What if you look back at last year? You were hurt, but how the season ended. The Astros ended their run of not making the playoffs. Has that been brought up in spring training? Was that a sour taste in your mouth, or was it, I was hurt. While I couldn't help the team, I also didn't have the same feeling as the guys that were out there on the field grinding it out?
I mean, I'm from Houston, so it definitely leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I've been very lucky, very fortunate to be able to watch this team be in the playoffs for, like you said, the last 9, 10 years before that. So I think it goes without saying in the clubhouse. I think we all know what the goal is, and it's not just a goal, it's an expectation at this point. And that's the culture that we've had here forever. That's all I've ever known with the Astros. So I would like to say that it's probably the same feeling for everybody else. It doesn't need to be said. It's just what we're going to set out to do as soon as we play that opening game. And I don't really think there's much else to say about it. Obviously, I would have liked to have been a bigger part of it, like to have been a bigger part of maybe making that last push that we needed to make, but it just chips didn't fall that way last year, and I'll do everything I can this year to make sure I'm around for it.
Go into the being from Houston and playing for the Astros, with the history of the Astros now have had, and then you joined the program, but also, do you play for free? Like, do you have to give away that many tickets?
So when I was a rookie, I didn't quite understand exactly how fast you can rack up that tab on tickets. And if I were to say the tab on air, it would make me want to throw up. Like it was a disgusting amount of money that I spent on tickets. And I kind of had to tell the family year two, like, hey, guys, you might be getting your own tickets a little more often this year. And that's not ever a conversation I wanted to have. But yeah, I was playing for free probably 30% of my starts my rookie year, but it was because I wanted them all there. They're all 20 minutes, 30 minutes from the stadium. So it's easy for them to get there. And I don't ever want to be the one to say, no, don't come watch me play. But at this point, they know. It's like, hey, get your own tickets, get your own parking pass. Like, I'm kind of off that at this point.
Do you ever?
Ballpark?
Oh, go ahead, Kratzy.
No. Can we get a ballpark? Can we get a ballpark of how much? Like, are we talking like, or is it that much of a number? Because fans don't understand this. You do have to pay for your tickets, or the face value of the ticket. You have to pay the taxes on that ticket. And people are going to say, oh, it makes millions of dollars. You don't make millions of dollars until you have a contract or you are arbitration eligible. So I'm saying that to preface what you're going to say.
I spent just south of 20 grand on tickets.
You know how much other cool stuff you could have bought for 20 grand?
I'm just thinking it could be in a savings account at this point. I would much rather it be there. But again, I'm very grateful for all the people that made their way down to Dakin Park to come watch me pitch. But yeah, just you look back on it, it's like, man, that is a disgusting number, and I'll never do it again.
Just tell them to watch on TV.
That too.
So do you ever, obviously not while you're actually pitching, but do you ever sit in the dugout and look out at left field, the Crawford boxes, and say, gosh, I wish pitchers could hit again?
Oh, man. I have no business hitting against the arms that we got in the big leagues today, but I think there was part of me in high school that thought I could do it, thought I could be a hitter. But yeah, you look out there, it's like, man, I can hit a fly ball 89 to left field. It's not that far away, but yeah, the funny thing about Minute Maid is if you hit it to center field, it's not going over the fence. If you hit it to left field, it's almost a coin flip. Like I said Minute Maid on air again. Sorry, Dakin Park. But yeah, no, I got no business. We got too many nasty guys that throw way too hard now. I'd punch out every single at bat.
Spoken like a true pitcher.
Yeah.
Hitting is hard, guys.
Yeah.
We all know that. Spencer, really appreciate you stopping by. Good luck to you this season. A full season of good health for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Thank you, Spencer. Great to have you. And FT fam, we'll be right back. Hey, we're back, and we'll have many more conversations from Astros camp for you. We'll get into the WBC a little bit later on in the show and some other happenings as well. I think it's a good time to also shout out this guy. Crush City Territory. It's one of the better logos we have, Kratz, don't you think?
It is. It pops. So maybe I'm just in my Astros gear right now thinking about it, but like, it's good. It's really good. The people behind the scenes that have made all these logos of all of our teams. Crush City is it's a top 5.
Yeah, and that show is fantastic. And that show actually has interviewed many of the guys that we're going to speak to today. So if you'd like to go back and you're a big Astros fan and listen to more from those guys, then this is the show for you. QR code on the side of the screen also has the little subscribe that you can hit if you go to the website. So Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the whole deal, Crush City territory shop.com for the apparel. We just want to shout out our team shows, many of them now and growing across the FT network, covering these teams in depth like nobody else. And you'll see 3 episodes per week during the regular season from the guys over there, Tyler Stafford, Chandler Rome, and Josh Reddick. Actually, Kratz, were you there when Reddick was there with Houston?
No, I wasn't. No. He
you guys
left,
didn't cross.
I think he left in 16, and I got there in 16. But Josh is one of my favorite of all our shows player hosts. So that's probably why I like the logo too. But
yeah, Josh is great on there, and I mentioned him because he was just at camp too. So he was able to contribute, help the guys, with what he went through as a player, that whole deal. He did one of the visits.
Yeah, he looks like he looks like he did when he played, but when he played, he didn't look like he could play until he got out on the field. He's like the most unassuming player that you would ever see, and he's like he looks exactly the same now.
I've been told that he's still there at camp. You know who else is there that I hear we're going to talk to around top of next hour, 12 o'clock Eastern? We'll get him live. I heard, that's right, Top Father, Jeff Bagwell. Get your questions loaded up. I don't think we've ever had him on the show, have we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, cool. Nope. So Bagwell, maybe later on, and many other conversations. No, we've never had him on. I just saw a quick note in the chat. We have not had him on, but we will have him on in about 40 minutes. Hunter Brown next.
We're here at Astros camp, and we are sitting with Hunter Brown, ace starting pitcher for the Houston Astros. Hunter, before we came on, I said, are you done for the day? It's really early. What do you got planned?
No big plans. Hit some recovery, maybe some Normatex, get in the tubs, and then get some food in you and hang out. That's the plan.
Hey,
no golf.
Hunter. No golf today. It looks windy for golf today. I'm gonna jump right to the chase because we talked to some of your teammates too about this. Are there any conversations with the Astros right now? I mean, you coming off such an awesome season. Are there any current combos? I know you've expressed even on Crush City territory how you want to be an Astro for life, but is there anything going on?
No, I haven't heard anything. Hopefully they come knocking soon. But I'm focused on the year this year. I'm excited to have another year of wearing this jersey and, at least another 2 more after that. So, coming into the season this year, just focused on that. But, like you said, I love wearing this uniform and, I got no visions doing it anywhere else. So
what is the one thing that you say Hunter Brown needs to improve on? Like, this is definitely an area that I need to improve on to take that next step to be the elite of the elite.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different things. In an ideal world, you can throw a first pitch strike every hitter and every chance you get. I could do a lot better job of that. I think I was actually probably towards the bottom of the league and starting pitchers with that. So I think that's something that I can focus on, whether that's, breaking balls or just kind of tighten up the fastballs in the zone early. I think breaking ball location overall last year was really good, but I think that's something that I'm always going to kind of be leaning towards and trying to get better with, especially with my slider. So I would say probably those 2 things. I need to do a better job of that.
So with that being said, Hunter, at what point in spring training do you feel like you need to have all that tightened up?
Yeah, I would say, that's a good question because I would tell you by the last start, but last year, my last start was terrible. They rolled a couple innings on me. I think I walked 5 or 6. So, and then I had a good year. So, I mean, I don't know if there's actually a true answer to that, but mentally you want to have that dialed in by the time you get out of here. I think as you start, for me as a starter, as you get out there for those 3, 4, 5 inning stints, that's kind of where you can really lock it in and kind of focus on what you're working on and dial those things in. So, I don't really put too much stock into the first couple outings. I'm just trying to get the timing right, get the body feeling good, and then, when you start trekking out there for 4 or 5 innings, that's when you want to have it ready to go.
Would it be too tough to get everything ramped up by now? Because you're going to see a lot of dudes right now thrown into WBC full intent. Would it be too tough for you to get it ramped up to that point?
What do you mean, full intent for?
Full intent if you were pitching in a WBC game here in the next week.
I think if you were asking for a full start, a 5, 6, 7 inning out and throwing 100 pitches, I think that would be a little bit early. I think it comes with the pressure of the game. I think the competitiveness that the WBC brings, those guys, I think that's why you see those starters and certain guys, really on a leash. But right now your body's really starting to come into shape and you're feeling good for the season. So you can definitely turn it on in a shorter stint. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it would be tough to, roll out there like it's opening day.
You talk about your body a lot and getting acclimated and making sure you're in the right spots and feeling good. You joined Alex Bregman's Nemesis baseball program this offseason. You want to talk a little bit about that and how that hopefully has been helping you in spring training and moving forward?
Yeah, just getting around all those guys was awesome. He's a good friend of mine, and also he's an incredible player. The Matt Chapman out there, Walker Buehler, Zach Gallen, a bunch of guys. So, you really get to, in the off season, you kind of, as you guys know, you get in your routine. And I mean, I'm working out indoors in Michigan a lot of the time, so I don't see much of the green grass and dirt that we got behind me here. So it's good to get around guys and get back out on the field and just kind of get into baseball mode again. So that was great for me. The facility's awesome. Brady did a great job throwing that together for the boys, and definitely happy to be a part of it for sure.
What's your least favorite part of spring training?
That's a great question, Kratzy.
Okay, so actually my least favorite part of spring training is not like having a full scouting report for the game. So like there's a lot of the times where I don't even know who's in the box, and that is no disrespect. That's just actual, like, you just don't know, right? Which I'm somebody that likes to go and know what I'm, at least have a plan of what I'm going to throw guys or where to attack them. So that's probably my least favorite part, is not, having that direct plan, like, hey, this guy crushes 4s away, I should probably keep it in here. Or, this guy handles 2s better than 4s. I think that's something that maybe I should probably take a peek into, but like I said, you don't really know who the lineup is going to be all the time. You get late scratches and stuff like that. So that, and then obviously the day game life, the early morning rising is also not really up my alley. I've been accustomed to waking up at 11 o'clock instead of 6. So, that's probably the 2 things for me.
So you're definitely not a guy that's like, hey, do you want to pitch the day game in Chicago? No, I'll take the night game if we're having a doubleheader. You're that guy.
If you got the choice, I definitely prefer to pitch at night. You get longer time to get the caffeine rolling in you. You get to sleep in. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I think I threw like 6 out of the first 8 starts last year were day games. So it happens, and you got to be ready for it.
All right. What is it like to know that you are the number one? That you're the number one. That teams are going in and they're going, we got to beat Hunter Brown. This is like they put a little extra into it.
Yeah, I think it's good when expectations are high. I think that's where you want to be. That's where you strive to be your whole career. I had dreams of pitching opening day this year. It looks like it's going to happen. So, stay healthy, stay on the field. But that's what you want. You want to face the best guys in the world, and you want to be the best. So that's what we're striving after. All encompassing, like I said, there's no better place to be than when people really want to get after you, whether that's your team, whether that's individually. I think that's a lot better than the opposite, when people are maybe thinking that you're not going to do so well. So I've been on both ends. I like this one right now a lot better.
Well, we are happy for you that your dream has come true. Opening day starter for the Astros this year. Hunter, really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, this is a good one on the day that the U.S. team gets going and many others. I mean, this is the Friday where it suddenly becomes madness in the World Baseball Classic. And again, we'll talk about what's happened so far a little bit later on, including Ohtani and Yamamoto. But highest ticket for World Baseball Classic MVP goes to Bobby Witt Jr. at 23.8%, and then Juan Soto at 10.5%, Ohtani at 8.6%. Kratz, your thoughts on the top three there, or anybody else that you think you'd place? I mean, it's going to be tough. There's so much star power, and it depends on who you think's going to win. You got to pick someone from the winner.
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just going to be picked from the winning team, and I think the DR, something about the DR. So I do like the Juan Soto there, but I feel like my pick yesterday, I picked the DR to win it, and I would say if they win it, it's going to be a Junior Caminero MVP. Junior Caminero is the guy that I feel like in a lineup of superstars, you're going to be like, all right, well, we'll see what we can do. I guess he's a home run hitter, so he's a better hitter than just a home run hitter. And I feel like he's the guy in the lineup that other teams will be like, I guess if somebody's going to beat us, we're going to let him beat us. And I think that's where you're going to find the most value. I tried to look it up. I wasn't able to find it yet, what the value is on Junior to win MVP.
Nice.
Well, that's going outside the box. I like that, but I might be the guy like, oh, typical. But Shohei Ohtani, man, this guy is an absolute beast. The team is absolutely phenomenal. He's a guy that can do it from both sides too as well. So that puts him over the top for me, and he looks like he's ready to play. It looks like he never lost a beat from last year and the years before. So I would definitely take a big time look at Shohei Ohtani in this World Baseball Classic.
He got off to an okay start today. A little grand slam dinger, no big deal. Again, we're going to talk about it later, but yeah, nice start for Mr. Ohtani against Chinese Taipei. They blew him out. Hey, for the World Baseball Classic odds boost token, you can score yourself a bigger payout. You can see that little click. I love the toggle. Apply the boost on the BetMGM app or at betmgm.com. There's a special one in there for you to activate that boost token. And then if you win that bet, you get yourself a bigger payout. Go to the BetMGM app. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back with Lance McCullers Jr. next. Lance McCullers joining us right now on FT. Lance, it's good to see you. You seem really happy and having fun out there. So what's it been like, this little camp run for you to get yourself built up for the season?
It's been good, coming into camp and just being able to build up normal and feeling good, feeling healthy, hitting all the benchmarks, not having to worry about bullpen days and if I'm going to recover and, how many pitches I can throw and all that good stuff. So it's been a good camp, staying with some of the guys this year. So that's been great, and just enjoying spring.
Are you sick of people asking you like, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Stuff like that. Or you're just like,
No,
hey, happy
I guess
to be
it is
here.
it just is, it's part of the questions now, but it's fine. I feel good. Like I said, first camp in probably at least 4 or 5 years where I've just been able to come in and not rehabbing anything. Didn't have any setbacks in the off season, no surgeries. So it's nice to at least answer the questions, positively.
What does it feel like? What does your arm feel like? We're asking those questions, but not like, okay, mentally I'm here, mentally I'm not there, but like, what does your arm feel like at a certain point in the off season to get yourself to this spring training?
It's usually always in the buildups for me, at least coming off the surgeries and stuff, in the off seasons, you guys know how it is. It's your OFP, you get to take light days, you get to maybe skip a throwing session or a lifting session if you're not feeling right. You get to camp and there's not much room there for you. You got to hit your bullpen days. Obviously you're working on stuff, trying to get better. So you need to be recovered enough to get there. And then you have the games. And I told Hunter one day, we were driving home after my first, maybe my second live. I was like, how nice it is just to be able to go home and hang out with you guys and maybe, watch a movie, play Catan, whatever we're doing, and not have to sit there 24/7 Is my elbow going to be good tomorrow? Am I going to be able to throw? Do I need to go somewhere for treatment? So it's been nice. It's been a good spring. I like it down here in Palm Beach. I'm a Florida boy by heart. I grew up in Tampa, so it's been great.
So you talk about, you said you have no reservations, which I think a lot of people should basically listen to that as ball players and in life too as well, going in kind of free. Is there anything you change right now with your, mechanics or anything else that you've been working on, a new pitch, anything that you feel that you're going to be comfortable being ready to throw once you're ready to rock?
Yeah, last year, obviously coming off the injury, long break, wasn't a great go for me. But I think you go into the offseason, you're honest with yourself. You kind of can take that as, ability to kind of step back, strip the mechanics, kind of get to where you want to be. My sinker was just really flat, dying on me last season. It was tough for me to control, tough for me to challenge guys in the zone with. So this offseason, I kind of I went all the way back to 2015, 2016, saw where the arm angle was before I had surgeries. Well, that was a focus of mine, get the arm back up. So last year, my arm angle was like 24, 25 coming out, which is atrocious. And so this year I'm back to like, 30, 35, 36, being able to drive that ball. And that's really the pitch for me. I was messing with the splitter in the off season. I don't think it's something that I can consistently throw with confidence. Plus it's a big tip pitch for me. So I'm kind of mixing, should I stick with it? Should I go back to the changeup? So the way my sinker's moving right now, I got a little bit more vert on it. It's not so flat and die and not running into those barrels. So I think I'll have enough separation with my regular changeup to kind of rock and roll with it.
So Lance, now that you are feeling healthy and this is like a normal spring training for you, you're one of the old guys left.
Yeah.
So is it more easy for you now to be that leader that you wanted to be when you weren't as healthy? You know what I'm saying?
Well, as a pitcher, and I think Todd and everyone can speak to it, it's hard to be a pure leader as a starting pitcher. That's my opinion. That's maybe not accurate to everyone, but that's my opinion. It's hard to really be a leader of the team. You're not out there every day. You're not kind of in the grind, in the struggle, understanding what guys are dealing with on a daily basis. As a starter, you're once every 4 or 5 days, with rest in between, of course. So I think that, when we've had really great leaders here, like I think back with, on Keuchel when he was really emerging, Verlander, Cole, Hunter, myself, for periods of time when I was healthy. I think it's easier when you're healthy and you're out there and you're with the guys every day. You're on the road trips. You're at the team dinners. You're one of the veterans. So I think when you're a veteran, there's an automatic type of maybe responsibility to kind of guide and help the young guys kind of through. But especially when you're pitching and you're pitching well, I think you can be a little bit more vocal. You're more of a presence. So I think we'll see how it goes. But I hope I can kind of step into that full role again.
All right, Lance, there's a rookie that's going to make his debut this year that wants to wear Batman cleats, and they're going to call him Wagyu. What would you say to that rookie? I'm obviously, for people who don't know, I'm referring to Lance when he was a rookie.
Yes.
I was there when you were still young, and the Scott Feldmans and the Luke Gregersons, those guys gave you a hard time. They called you Wagyu. You've had an incredible career of successes in different stages. But what would you right now, as your Lance McCullers, tell that Lance McCullers?
Oh man, I would say, I would say to trust a little bit more, in your stuff. I think I look back at my early career and I watch video and I think, man, I wish I still had that same stuff. So I would say, just to, trust in the stuff a little bit more than I did, I think, back in the day. Not tinker so much. I'm a tinkerer by nature. Even in this spring, ball's been coming out well, and I'm trying new stuff. And our pitching coach, Josh Miller's like, I think maybe we just stick with what we got. You look good right now. So I would look back and say to truly enjoy the ride. Don't always be thinking so far into the future. I think that's natural when you're young. I think you always want the next step, or you always want to get to the next thing. And you kind of, you look at your career and you look back, you say, I've enjoyed, I've loved it, but man, I'd love to go back, as a 21, 22-year-old in the big leagues and, be able to kind of experience it all over again. So I'm grateful for the veterans I had. They were hard on me at times, but I think it was all in hopes for, me to be in the future and be able to lead other guys.
Yeah. Following up on that, Lance, you mentioned that you wanted to have that more belief in your ability, belief in your stuff. You mentioned minute ago about your splitter. Are we really going to see it? You said you don't have confidence in it yet, but I feel like mentally you're there. You're going to be able to figure it out if you wanted
The
to.
pitch is good. The pitch is good, but you kind of got to pick. Am I going to hold a pitch that I throw 10% of the time, all the time, to move off it for the tipping type of stuff, and then when I pre-grip it, I get the grip solid, and then if I'm going to be moving off it for the other pitches, and I got to wiggle in there with the splitter, so that I'm losing the grip when I'm actually going to go throw it. So the splitter for me was more of if my two seam didn't get back to some rise and run, if I couldn't get in on those righties, if I couldn't stay away from the barrel path and the lefties, and the velo didn't come back, which the velo's been good this spring. My first game, I got up to 94.6, as I was told, 95 on the board, but 94.6. So the velo's climbing a little bit. I think there's enough separation with the two and the changeup now. The splitter was a pitch that going into the offseason, like Todd was saying, I was like, man, I need something to separate from like that lazy dying two, and something that's a little bit gives me a little bit more bite. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's there. I still throw it. But again, it's about being able to execute and feeling confident in the game.
Are you and Altuve ever jealous of Correa because he got to leave and like got to see the world, and now he's back, the place that you guys feel comfortable and have been in your entire career?
But part of me is always like, man, I would love to, meet more guys in the game, kind of experience, other clubhouse cultures, be able to develop those relationships with other teammates. I think as a pitcher, especially, you never want to be too friendly. I'm a naturally friendly person, but you never want to be too friendly with like opposing hitters and all that stuff, because I feel like it gives them a little bit of an edge. So, all my teammates that have been here that I've been really close with, when I face them, it's always a little bit awkward. When I face George or Tucker, plus it took me deep, that wasn't cool. So, you just try to find that balance of being able to meet people and, meet guys around the game and experience the game, as a whole. But yeah, Carlos, I think he enjoyed his time in Minnesota, but I definitely think he's happy to be home.
Lance, while you mentioned Tucker, what did you think of his free agency expedition and how he landed the big high AAV deal and ends up with the Dodgers, and they're coming off the World Series and then they get the best hitter in free agency, that whole saga?
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm super happy for Tuck, honestly. I just really am. All the guys, whether it was Breggy or George or all these guys going to free agency, I always text them and I just say, man, I just want what's best for you and the family, wherever that may be. I know Tucker's an East Coast boy like myself, so
Tampa guy too.
Tampa guy. I played with his brother actually with the Astros. Play with Kyle, but being able to kind of watch his development, his growth from a young rookie, and kind of coming out of his shell a little bit, and really feeling confident in himself. He's a premier player in our game, man. I think he gets overlooked a lot. We had such great players on our team for a long time, and obviously goes to the Cubs, a lot of star power there. But I think Tucker, man, he could have a big season over there in LA. And the Dodgers are a great team, but we still got to go out there. We got to compete. And I'm happy for him. And the Dodgers got a great kid, great man.
Talk about another pitcher, Tetsuya Mai. Have you seen him a little bit, and what can you tell us about him and his progression in America here, getting going?
He seems very comfortable. He's locker mates with me. His interpreter Rio. We kind of talk. Well, obviously we talked through him, but he's got the fastest pickoff move I've ever seen to first base. It's pretty incredible. But he's got big stuff. He's got big stuff, and it's quick, and it's fast, and it gets on hitters. I watched him yesterday against the Mets. I mean, the fastball really gets on guys. And he seems like a great dude. Obviously, there's a big language barrier there, but during the season, we're obviously at the field more hours, and you travel with guys, and he's already asking like, hey, what do we play on the plane? What card games do we play? And so I see him on his phone, kind of watching him, trying to pick him up so he can play with the boys. So it's been a joy to have him in camp. He works super hard. Guy lifts the house. Really? He lifts the house. Yeah. I mean, I see him in there. And by his stature, you wouldn't think so, but he can move some weight, and I think he's going to be a great addition. Yeah. He seems like a super big competitor.
So humility aside, Lance, who's got better hair? I saw him walk out and he's got like streaks or something in it, right? Like, who's got the better flow, you or him?
I don't know. I guess to each their own. Each their own. He's got the highlights. He's got the highlights look. He's got a lot of quiet swag. Yeah, I would say Amai does. Yeah.
All right, Hunter Brown. We talk about it all the
Big
time on the
HB.
show. Aces and number ones.
Yeah.
Is he an ace yet? If he's not, I would say he's a number one, and I would say he's not an ace yet. Where does he need to take that next step to be an ace in this league?
Just consistency. Hunter's got it all, man. Hunter's the full package. He's big. His stuff's explosive. It's electric. He's been here for, he's been in the big leagues for 3 or 4 years now, but with the organization for 6 or 7 years. Extremely healthy, extremely durable. And for me, when I'm looking at an ace, I'm looking at the guys who just can get out there every 5th, 6th day. Guys that are just the team counts on them. They're the horse, and then they got the stuff behind it. So I talk to a lot of guys, in camp. We'll be going over video, and I kind of separate, you're a stuff guy or you're a command guy, and you got to lean into that, right? Like I wish I had better command. I'm more of a stuff guy, so I just got to lean into the stuff. Other guys, I'm like, hey, lean into that command. Don't worry so much about the track man. Don't worry so much about all these different pitch shapes. You have elite command, lean into it. But when you get both, you get Hunter Brown, you get Scooble. I mean, those are the type of guys you get. Hunter, man, he's probably one more full season away from doing what he's done the last 2 years, from being an absolute premier ace in this game. He's an unbelievable person. He prepares fantastic. I think he should be the face of this rotation for years and years to come. I can't speak for him, but I know he loves playing for the Astros, and I think it's only March 6th. I think the Astros got a couple more weeks to see if they'd like to make a run at him. But that's a guy you build your starting rotation around for 5, 6, 7 years to come.
What does your future look like after this year? This is your last year with the Astros under contract.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Because I know you've had these. The little bit that we've texted back and forth, you've mentioned what's next? What's next for Lance McCullers? And I know you are where your feet are, but what are the things that you've thought about next for you?
I did an interview leading into camp, and I think some people took it the right way. I think some people took it the wrong way. And what I meant by it was, I just, like Todd mentioned, I have no reservations as far as what life will bring in the future. I'm very free right now. I think it's a great place to be as an athlete. I love this team. I love this organization. I've been with this organization since I was 18 years old. 32 now, going on 33. And so my life has been here. My career has been here. Having unbelievable relationships with not only the players, but the staff at the stadium. So this is my home. This is where we live full time. My daughters are in school in Houston. We're never going to leave Houston. And we'll see what the game brings me, honestly. If the game, a lot of times you get told by the game, you gotta go do something else, or sometimes you have the ability to kind of stretch that. I'd love to be able to be healthy and to have a few more years in me. Like, I look at a guy like Nathan Eovaldi as big inspiration, someone who had been through a lot of injuries, kind of had to work his way back, and then really had a late career resurgence. Charlie Morton, those type of guys. I don't think I'll be pitching until I'm 40, but I love to keep playing this game. It's been my whole life. But in the interview, I said I'm a dad first. I have 2 beautiful daughters, a great wife, and so if that's what's on the other side of baseball for me, I'm not gonna be upset about that either. So I'm free. I'm open. I love to remain an Astro. I think if I can prove that I am healthy, my stuff is there, I think there could be, more years to come, or maybe I go off and play for another organization, get to experience that, or I get to go home and to my daughters.
It's not a bad thing to go home to family, be a dad first. Lance, we really appreciate you stopping by, and we're happy for you, man.
Thank
You're
you.
Feeling good.
Yeah,
Good luck
appreciate
with
it.
the season.
So far, so good.
Hey, some news during the show here. Alden Gonzalez reporting that John Carpino, who is the right-hand man of owner Artie Moreno, has informed the Angels he will retire as team president, ending a 23-year run with the organization. Molly Jolly, a longtime exec on the business side, is going to replace him on April 6th. Alden said, more to come. Kratz, did you come across him? We don't talk about team presidents a ton on this show, but I mean, they are the right-hand man to the owner most of the time. Randy Levine for years with the Steinbrenners, Derek Hall for years with Ken Kendrick and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and many, many others in that role. I think sometimes people get confused nowadays because president of baseball operations versus president. We used to just basically have GMs, but the president of baseball operations is the GM of what we grew up knowing. They run the roster. The president reports business side, budget, everything financial with the owner, and is not making player personnel decisions as a whole. He might be in on some conversations, but generally it's business. It's like CEO and general manager.
Yeah, completely different. I never ran into him my 3 weeks in AAA with Salt Lake. I don't think the president was really too worried about me as a player. But you know what? Maybe this is the beginning of something new for the Angels. I don't know. I think some of the stuff that stems with Artie is an Artie thing. But he needs somebody in there that's willing to make the infrastructure changes. And this is the role that will allow, like, hey, you know what? I hear what the baseball side of baseball is saying. I'm the business side. Molly Jolly's going to, which, by the way, is name of the week. But the business side has to be in line with the fact that you're spending $250 million in your payroll. It's okay to spend $3 million more in your minor leagues to create an infrastructure that will quite possibly make you not have to pay as much in the big leagues. Or here's a mind blower for you. Maybe it'll help you win a World Series in the big leagues. That's the point of owning a team. So to me, this is an important role for a team to be, especially with Artie, not willing to spend the money in places that he has severely lacked spending the money.
And by the way, Joe Madden was on Halo territory this week. Check it out. Hey, we're back, and Kratz, your boy, is coming up. He just popped over. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
His first name is Joshua.
Oh, don't be a hater.
Yeah.
Don't be a hater. I can't wait till he gets his
Be like a
earpiece
minute or
in.
two
So I
away.
can,
Yep.
right. He's my brother. Hey, brother. I don't think he uses brother on TV. I'll try to see if I can get him to say brother, but he says brother all the time. He said, hey, brother, you know what? It's going to be a good day.
This is why we have Kratz here, Todd Father, for his Josh Hader interviews. So we're looking forward to that.
Of course.
Another great hair guy. Great hair guy. I hope he grew it back out. I haven't seen his lovely locks for a minute.
You're about to see him. They're getting them all ready to go. So Astros closer Josh Hader will be joining us in a few. Later on, Joe Espada, and then eventually we'll get to some World Baseball Classic talk. We have Ken Rosenthal on the guest list. We have Jeff Bagwell on the guest list. We've got a pretty stacked guest list today. It's been a very busy day, and the Astros are taking good care of us. So, yeah, let's go. Let's go out to Astros camp right now. Danny, would you like to welcome your fellow closer?
Yeah, I'm so excited to actually have a pitcher here that matters. We've all had starting pitchers, or we're planning on talking to starting pitchers. We got a closer here, Josh Hader, one of the best in the game. Josh, thank you for joining us. How you feeling, buddy?
Good. Appreciate you having us. What's up, fellas? Okay. On the other side. Good to see y'all. And I feel good. So just building back, recovering from a little setback, but all great news. Bumping up in the velo. So, can't complain about this.
Brother, I said it before you came on. You're putting your earpiece on. I don't think you use the word brother on TV, but I need to hear you just use the sentence, because when you're playing in the clubhouse with Hader, he's always like, you know what, brother? When I throw a Wrigley Park, when I throw a Wrigley Field, man, I just feel like I can throw a little bit harder. So let me hear it, brother.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, that's facts, brother. That's facts.
That's stricken outdoors right there. I hated to see you go down last year. You have an affinity for certain guys you played with, and I don't cheer for teams anymore. I cheer for players, and you're one of the guys I cheer for. When you went down last year, knowing you, How long were you dealing with it? Because I have a hard time believing that you were like, uh-oh, something hurts. Okay, I'm down. Knowing you fighting through things, how long did you fight through anything before you actually had to go on the IL?
Man, you'd be surprised. It was literally right after. It was the next day after that outing in New York.
Really?
I felt something, and then kind of just went through it. And Sunday got hot. I think it was like the eighth. It was the seventh inning, and then the eighth inning, and then went back Monday, and I was like, yeah, something still doesn't feel right. So went and got it all checked out, and yeah, man, it was a weird one for me. Obviously, I've never gone through injury, so yeah, that was difficult for me not to finish out a year.
So, Josh, obviously you want to be ready for opening day, but in your mind, is there a time frame, like if you can get in a game anytime soon, or are we just going to take it as it goes?
Yeah, we're trying to take it, day by day, obviously, but we kind of schedule out week by week and see how I'm recovering. It's easy to give yourself a timeline, but you also don't want any setbacks to rush to a timeline. So we're definitely progressing in a great way, and that's all we can ever ask for is recover well, continue to build up that velocity and the volume, and we're at that point. So it's all great news on our front.
Who pushes harder, you or the trainers? Are they the ones that pull the reins back? Do you have to pull the reins back, or is it completely 50-50?
I think it's about the same. I mean, obviously, you know how it goes. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And, the last thing you want to do is rush into a season, get hurt, and then be out for the rest of the season. For me, I'm not a guy that really talks about surgery. I'm not saying that's on the table, but if you push something to its limit without being ready, you have the chance to do that. And obviously, that's not in my case, but you never know with the game of baseball, throwing too much and too quickly could set something back. So for me, it's just trying to be smart, trying to be obviously there as quick as possible, but also to be able to have the longevity to be there at the end of the season.
I want to talk a little about the weeds, about the team here a little bit in spring training. It's fun times. You get to see different people. You get to see younger guys too as well. Besides the squad you got going on, is there anybody in spring right now that you're seeing, maybe pitching wise or hitting wise that you're like, oh man, that either that sounds different or the pop of the glove? There's somebody that we should be looking, to in the upcoming year here that might help the squad out.
Man, you know how it is. You're going to need everybody, and this year we got a lot of arms. I think that's the fun part is seeing all the guys that are coming here and throwing. Specifically, I don't have a guy that really stands out to me, but at the end of the day, I mean, we got a lot of great arms here, and it's fun to watch them. From 1 to 40, really. I feel like we got a lot of arms, and they're all really good. I haven't really been able to sit down and watch games. I've been watching some sim games and bullpens, but it's a little bit different when you get out in the game. So I'm gonna have to definitely catch a couple games and see how these guys are going.
So, Josh, as a former closer, I'm always intrigued in talking to current closers and their prep for each game. Not mental or physical prep. Like, what do you do the first 6 or 7 innings? Are you hanging out in the bullpen? Are you hanging out in the clubhouse still? What's your routine every day?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the same thing pregame. Once we get first pitch, I'm inside getting my stretch ready, getting my activation ready, and then go out about the 4th inning and probably give or take an inning and a half, mess around with the guys. Obviously, they got to lock in a little bit earlier. And then, around the 6th, I'm back to more activation and getting the body prepared. And, hopefully by the 8th inning, I'm getting ready to get warmed up.
What about your walkout? Now you got hurt for the first time. I don't know if they must have had kryptonite wherever you got hurt, because that's the only way you beat Superman. But
yeah,
do you have to change your walkout because are you getting into like Moana, like kids movie walkout stage? Like are you gonna have the same walkout this year?
Yeah, same walkout so far. I've been thinking about changing it. I just don't have anything to top that. That's the tricky part. Like, you can't go to a new song and it not be better than the song you had before, because then you disappoint the fans. And so that's where I'm at right now. So sticking to fireman one more year. Last 2 years, I think I might change it. Maria thinks I should ride it all the way through. So if you guys want to do a poll, maybe give me some suggestions on some banger songs.
Well, we're just saying in our little chat, maybe you should start a poll, see what the fans want you to play.
Yeah, that's a good option.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably reach a lot of fans there in Houston to pick a song. I'd be excited to hear that. When you mentioned messing around in the bullpen for a little bit until other guys have to get ready, is there anything you can tell us that you do to mess around? Or
We just talk shop, man. Just whatever's going on that day. We're around each other for a long time. Some inside jokes, pop up, or just random things like that. Nothing really specific on our front, but it's just it can be a lot down there, especially if you're in every single pitch, every single time, every game. So you gotta relax a little bit for a couple innings until you have to really turn it on.
All right. Got to ask this. I ask a lot of people this. What's your least favorite part of spring training?
Ooh.
Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening to the
Honestly,
organization. You can say whatever. It's a safe place.
Honestly, I don't like the night games personally at spring training. I like getting in early, getting my days done, and being home by like 1 o'clock. Get to hang out with the family. That's kind of my go-to. I like prepping early, because the night games, you get here at like 12 o'clock and you're here till about 7 o'clock, and you're like, that's a long day.
days wasted.
Days wasted.
Can you tell us your favorite and least favorite bullpens?
Ooh. It depends on the time of year. I mean, if it's cold and you're in Wrigley and you're indoors, so you're chilling. I mean, any indoor bullpen is personally my favorite. Philly, definitely. I love Philly. Just because I like chirping with the fans. I think that's the best part, because the Philly fans, I mean, if you've ever been in Philly, especially in playoffs, I mean, their fans are ruthless. So for me personally, I think that's the fun part. You get some people that are kind of funny with some sly jokes, but for the most part, I mean, it's a little bit part of the game. So I feel like when you give it back to them a little bit, they kind of calm down, but probably not after this. But it's just fun. The least, I would have to say, well, it's not around anymore, but I would say Oakland, but probably Sac now. Yeah. So I would say definitely Sac to this point.
One of the things being down during the beginning of spring training is you don't get to do the lives against your teammates. Another thing I always ask, who's the one dude on the team where you're like, I kind of wanted to strike him out, or like it's nice to hold a little bit over him for the entire season?
Oh man, I would have to say Coleman. Obviously he came up to the show last year. First pitch hit a tank. I mean, the guy's funny. He, if you haven't got to know him, actually, it's funny. I just figured this out, that he's a drummer. He gets after it with Metallica and some rock. So it's been fun getting to know him, and obviously I think it would be a good matchup to face him.
Hey, Josh, I don't think we've had you on since this news happened, but your former rep, your former agent, Jeff Berry, he's been on the show a couple times. You worked with him for years. He's pretty
Yeah.
opinionated. He's fun. What do you think of his little career move? He moves over to work with Posey. What do you think of that whole deal? So a player pretty fresh off the field, running the Giants. I know it's been about a year now, and then bringing an agent on. So they're doing things a little unconventional there. But what do you think Jeff's bringing to the table?
Man, he brings a lot. Obviously, he's been around the game a long time. He knows the game really well. He knows both sides, and I think for him, he has a really good player perspective, and what guys need, what guys want, and just the human side of things. I think in this game, a lot of things get overlooked, and especially the human side of the relationship. So obviously, him and Buster go way back. So to have that group. And see what they're doing. I mean, they're
They're a sneaky team, man. They're quietly, adding a lot of good pieces to their puzzle, and especially in that division over there, it's a tough one. It's definitely not easy. So you definitely need the pieces to compete over on that end. So, I'm happy for him. He's done a lot of great things for me, and just to see him succeed and still stay in the game of baseball and have a greater impact, obviously, in a front office, and obviously to impact a lot of players. So for what they're doing over there, it's great stuff.
All right, most random question of the day for you. Last year, the MVP race went down to a guy you saw all the time in your division, Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. From a closer who faces each of these guys, who do you feel like should have won the MVP award?
I mean, Judge, what he did was insane. Obviously, Cal, the homers he put on each and every day, doing that in a catcher's position. Obviously, it's hard to, do that plus perform at the plate and do that consistently with power from both sides. I think that's definitely a hard thing. But for me, it's just insane to me what Judge does on a daily basis.
That might have been the toughest question you've ever had to ask. Pick MVPs, right? Because it's like what can you say? They're both great, obviously.
Both great.
Yeah. So, well, brother, we are so happy for you. Thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Quick recoveries, and can't wait to see you on the field.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, Josh.
Why is he the one that is on the trading block when he clearly provides so much value?
Money. Christian Walker is making almost twice as much over the next 2 years as Isaac Paredes, and he's coming off a lesser year. I would expect Paredes has more value. Now, kind of an X factor here is if teams are scouting the Astros and watching them this spring, and they believe, like the Astros do, that Christian Walker is on the verge of a revival, maybe they would be more willing to take on the money and work out an arrangement with the Astros. Maybe the Astros would chip in something. I don't know. That is an option. I don't know that it is an attractive an option for the Astros because I don't know that they would get as much in return as they would for Paredes, who is, of course, less expensive and right now has greater trade value. So he is the odd man out in that sense. And he also is a guy that they talk about second base with. I don't know that he can really play second base. And Jay Chandler's shaking his head. No. So it's third base where Correa plays or first base where Walker plays. And there's a DH that is maybe the best DH in the game who will play left field, but he's not going to play left field 150 games. So this is why the roster as currently constructed is ill-fitting and needs to be addressed.
Our Foul Territory Spring Training Tour is engineered by Fastenal. We are at Astros Camp Fastenal, where industry meets innovation. For more info, fastenal.com. And let's go back to camp live. Danny, take it away.
Having a little PTSD here, guys. I am honored, obviously, to have Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell sitting next to me. This is probably the nicest he's been to me, because when we played against each other, it was hell. He did hit number 399 and 400 off me in the same game of his 449 career homers. But Jeff, great to see you, man. Great to have you around.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Danny. Yeah, I did do that, but there's a lot of times where you did jam the heck out of it with that two-seamer. Those two you just kind of left over the middle of the plate.
So, guys, I'm telling you, I've looked up stats that he had against me, and I didn't give up more homers to anybody. Baggy hit the most homers off me, the most hits, everything. This guy was tough to pitch to. But let's just talk about why you're here at Astros camp, working with the young guys.
I do. I do the big league guys too. This year a little bit more with the big league because we got some positions in the outfield that are open, and so those are younger guys. So I kind of want to see them, how they react during games, how they are when they come in the dugout and things like that. The young guys, I spend the whole year here so that when I do talk to these guys, they're not like scared of me, so that they can feel like I'm part of them and part of their development. So we can have good conversations, trying to get them in the right frame of minds, and the different ways of thinking about hitting may be a little different than everybody else thinks. But in my opinion, you can't reinvent the wheel. Hitting's one way. It's just how you do it personally to get there. So I just try to help those guys out a lot. And it's been a lot of fun. It's nothing better than watching a kid develop.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that a little bit. I was going to talk about your hitting approach and how you teach these kids. I know it seems like from hearing what you're talking about, you still have that old school mentality, maybe coming down on the ball, but there's all these different types of ways of hitting the ball now with launch angle and everything else. Do you look into that a lot, or are you just saying, hey man, bat the ball, try and level the ball up and see what you could do?
Well, the first thing I want them to do is become good hitters. Power comes, if you're good enough to hit 20 home runs, what do you do with the other 500 at bats? You punch out, grounded to third, grounded to short, pulling off the ball. Guys get second and third with less than 2 outs. If you're trying your launch angle and dropping your barrel, you're not going to be very successful. So I want them to become good hitters first. And so I understand what is out there and what is taught. But I really am a believer in, there's certain ways to go about hitting. Everybody's different. If there was one way to do it, we'd all do it. 100 years ago, they would have done it the same way, but everybody's got a different stance. Todd, you had a different stance than I did, but we're all been successful in our own right. But how do we get to that position of hitting the line drives? The phrase I hate is hit the ball in the air. If you hit the ball in the air, those are outs generally. The only guy that can hit the ball in the air consistently and not make outs is Aaron Judge. Other than that, we need to be good hitters, hit line drives. Line drives turn into doubles, doubles turn into home runs. So I'm trying to make them to stay through the baseball, stay in the big part of the field. If you stand on home plate and you look out at the field and 3 fielders in the outfielder, where's the greenest grass? It's in between both outfielders, the center fielder and then the right fielder and left fielder. That's where all the green grass is. That's where you should be trying to hit the baseball.
How much has development changed in the time that you've been with the Astros? You've seen it. Everyone says, well, they were the best in development. Now they suck. Like that, to me, I think that's sometimes unfair because they had superstars come through. But how much has it changed in the org since you've been really delving into it with them?
I think we're changing a lot when trying to hit those line drives and trying to hit the ball in the middle of the field to try and become hitters first. I think we have changed like that. It's very difficult. You got to remember these kids in high school and even in college, when they go to these tryout camps and all that, or they play in these tournaments, all people want to do is see home runs. So they start, dropping their back shoulder. They're trying to hit the ball out of the park. There's just no success in that, especially when you get to the big leagues and the way the velocity is now with the breaking pitches and all that. You got to be more square and stay through the middle of the baseball. So you got to try to, with some of these kids, we just got to get them more upright a little bit and understanding you don't need to charge the fastball. Let the fastball come to you and you need to hit off the fastball. Everybody's worried about the breaking balls and all that, but if you can't hit a fastball, then you can't see the breaking ball. So it's just kind of little things that I believe in, and I think our organization believes in, and we're getting better by the day.
Bags, has any of the young kids asked you about your stance, what made you go that route, or if they've even asked to, teach them that stance?
Yeah, no, they don't ask me to teach it. I think a lot of people ask me why. And I tell them the true story is in 1994, it was early in the season. And I asked Tony Gwynn for a bat. I said, Tony, could you please sign it to me? And he sends it over. He says, 2 bags, keep the same stance, Tony Gwynn. And I went, Tony Gwynn's watching me? Because I was tinkering with my stance all the time. I said, okay, what does Tony Gwynn do? He spreads out a little bit, keeps his head still, and just tries and hit from a solid base. So I said, okay. So I started doing that, and then it morphed into that, whatever that thing was. And I can look at pictures of myself, in different pictures that I sign for people, and I can tell whether I'm hitting well or not. If I'm really wide, I'm really struggling. I'm trying to see it bad.
Why didn't you tell us that before?
Well, I don't know, but it was a chore, but it worked out. But hitting's very difficult. It's the hardest thing to do. It remains that. So we just try and make it as simple and basic as possible, because if you get in the box and you're thinking about your back shoulder, your back hip's the new thing that they talk about all the time, then you're thinking about everything else besides actually competing against the guy in front of you.
Actually, I have a true story that I tried to hit like you, squatted down, wide out, and my hitting coach goes, and I was smashing, I was crushing. My hitting coach goes, you can't catch and stay on your legs like that for an entire season. So I go,
right,
okay, I'll stop. But either way, we're not trying to polish a turd here. Like I wasn't going to hit that well anyway. But do you get in the cage still? Do you ever get in the cage and show the boys?
It's funny you said that. They asked me today when I was over there, go back, do you want to get in there? I said, hell no. I said, that's a lose-lose situation. I said, if I swing and miss, which I will probably for the first 10 pitches, and then I start following pitches off and all that, they'll be like, man, this guy stinks. I told you those old players couldn't hit. So and I'm 57 years old, so I am not going down that road.
Hey, I want to ask you about a couple individuals. So first off, I mean, how impressed are you with Yordan Alvarez? And do you think the team should just let him eat at DH every day? Not that he was getting hurt running around there left and right, but he's had some injury issues, and you just want to get 150 plus games of him at the plate.
Well, for one, he's, arguably one of the best hitters in all of baseball. His natural swing is to left center. And when Yordan is on the field and he's in the batter's box, whether he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, it makes our team better. Everybody around him's better. Opposing managers, you can't even bring lefties in to face him because he's going to kill them too. So if we can get him healthy for 155 games, he'll be in good shape. Now, playing in the outfield, Yordan's a good outfielder. When he gets to the ball, he catches it. He's got a very accurate arm. He likes to play the outfield. I think it's important. Being a DH is a very difficult thing to do. You have to have a certain temperament to be a DH, whether it's Poppy or Chili Davis or guys like that. You have to have a certain temperament. He likes to be in the outfield every once in a while, so I think it's good for him to play the outfield.
Let's go to Christian Walker, a guy that came in last year and had to make some adjustments. Ended up having a decent year. I mean, I think he got a little bit of flack because of the contract he signed, but when you see a guy like that, what do you see that he could build on, but also improve on from where he was when he came over from the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot better Christian Walker this year. I think it is tough sometimes to come into a new team and be the focal point of your offseason when you get a guy like Christian to come in and play first base. I don't think any of us ever think about our contract when we go out there. We're just trying to compete and stay healthy and to do the best we can for our club. He got off to a little bit of a slow start. I think he's learned that some of the moves that he made beforehand when he was a little bit younger, he can't make as much now. And all of us have been through this. When you get older, you got to make certain adjustments because you're not as quick and you're not as fast as you were. So you got to, I'm not going to say cheat, but you got to do little things to simplify things in order to make more contact. And Christian has tons of power. So he's already making adjustments like that. He's done a great job so far this spring. So I'm excited for this year for him.
When you saw or heard that the Astros were getting Isaac Paredes, were you like, oh man, like he's going to come in here and just destroy the Crawford boxes? Or do you think it's something that could get in a hitter's head and say, well, yeah, I mean, this is what I've always done, but I want to prove to other people that I can also do that?
No, I think with Isaac, he's just a pull hitter, and I don't think that the wall has anything to do with that. Like he had I don't know, 14 to pitch at bat yesterday against Sandy Alcantara, and hit fouling balls into the dugout nonstop. It's just what he does, and he's such a professional. He's such a good hitter, and he has kind of like this feel for producing runs. Even when he hooks the ball, a lot of times when runners are getting scoring position, he stays a little bit shorter, uses a big part of the field a little bit more. It might be left center, might not be right center, but he does a real good job of driving in runs. Great guy, even temperament. He's been great for us. So I was very excited to have him. Still excited to have him.
Is it hard to hear that possibly the Astros have to maybe trade one of those two guys? Where you say, would you, as a player who's been through the grind the entire season, would you say, man, I'd just love to see the team keep as much offense as possible because you don't know what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's a very fair question. Basically you got 4 guys for 3 spots. And how do you keep everybody happy? And that's what Joe Espada's job will be, is to make sure he has great communication with these guys, let them know when they're going to play, when they're not going to play, a position that they, maybe Correa moves over to short one day, gives Jeremy a day off, and Isak plays third, vice versa with Walker. You also can use him in DH. So it's gonna be a lot of work, but as long as there's a lot of communication and guys understand their roles, I think we'll be fine. And truthfully, that it'd be a heck of a lineup if you see every day that we put out there with those guys in the line.
I want to talk to you about the ABS a little bit. Now you can challenge balls and strikes. First, how do you think you would do with that? And second, do you think this is good for baseball?
I mean, I'm a big proponent of umpires. I like umpires. I like the dialogue back and forth. I think the fans kind of like the ABS. I think because it stops the game, and it's like tennis. You see this thing up in the thing, it's either ball or strike, and then they get to yell at the umpire no matter what, either way. But when we played, you had to cover 3 or 4 inches outside and maybe 1 or 2 inside. So it's a little bit different with the way the velocity is and the breaking pitches. They need to have a smaller strike zone. Pitchers would definitely argue that, but it's something that's gone on in baseball. There's been a lot of changes in the last 10 years in the game of baseball, whether they're taking a guy at second base, which I hate. I love that part of the game. The catcher rule, there's different rules that have been implemented that are supposed to be for the better of the game. And if the baseball feels like that's the case, then I'm all for whatever's best for the game.
We have a lot of comments about the Hall of Fame. Are you a big Hall guy or a small Hall guy being in it?
I'm not answering that question. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. That's not my job, thankfully. I love celebrating great players, but there's been a lot of great players in this game. So whatever the criteria and whatever they want, things have changed a little bit now because there's more numbers out there now. But when you see a guy and you watch him play for 10, 15, 20 years, what kind of player they are and where they should be. And there's debates on everybody. Everybody has debates. There's been one guy that's been 100%. So it's a difficult decision. I'm for whatever they come up with. I'm just grateful to be in it myself.
Baggy, do you remember signing the bat for me?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Guys, he signed a bat, said, thank you for giving up $399 and $400.
I did.
To me, yes. It was brilliant. I know it's crazy. It was such an honor, though, to get that bat from.
It was great. Danny and I have been going back and forth for a long time. It just happened. I had actually had some balance that day that I hit off you, and I swear to God, I remember how I positioned my feet because I wanted to try something different that day. Sorry about that. I had balance, and Danny left a couple sinkers out over the plate, but Danny was great. He was very, very difficult to hit off. He had a good breaking ball and a really, really good sinker. And I'm not a big fan of hitting sinkers on my hands because you got to do everything right in order to get a hit. But I was fortunate that day.
Gosh, he makes me feel so much better about myself now.
I'm glad.
Baggy, dude, I really appreciate you stopping by,
My
man.
pleasure.
This was an honor for
My
all of
pleasure.
us, I'm sure.
Good seeing you guys. Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Jeff. FT Fan, we'll be right back
right.
with Joe Espada. Hey, we're back with the YouTube crowd for a moment and running our calendar here. Our FT Spring Training Tour, engineered by Fastenal, is almost done with our first week in the Sunshine State. Astros doing great. I mean, this has been definitely the best week, I would say, in FT history for guests. The whole week,
for sure.
tons of guests. I mean, we barely have time to talk about anything else going on because the whole 2 hours is being filled up by a great guest list. And this show has done thousands of interviews. We're on every day, year round. So thanks to all the teams.
We just had a Hall of Famer on. We just had Jeff Bagwell on. Like, that's what's happening at spring training. I get it. Like, we're really lucky to be able to get the connections with the players that are currently there, but there's so many people milling around spring training. It's been amazing. All the camps have done a great job. People on site have done an even better job.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of hustle going on out there. While we have a quick minute, Todd Father, check this out. So the Brewers are going to try to get really strategic with the ABS challenge system. When to use it. It actually does make sense. I mean, you don't get unlimited. We've talked about this for a while now. So Kurt Hogue, who writes for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and is our new host of Brewer Territory, posted this yesterday. Big spring happenings today. He said they're instituting phase 1 of Operation ABS Challenge System rules with coaches Evan Martin and Daniel Day, I'm not going to say the last name because I don't know how to say it, holding up big cards to signal when or when not to challenge based on game situations. So it's a little footballish in my mind, Todd Father.
Oh my, this is here we go, man. I'm telling you, I like the ABS, but I don't know. This is I think you got to go with your gut. You got to know what go with feel. I'm not sure about this one. We'll see how it plays off though.
I have 2 questions. Number 1, are guys supposed to be like looking over before each pitch? And number 2, what if it's way off the plate and they were like, no, this isn't a time to challenge. It's like, dude, it's wrong.
Exactly.
You do it.
Then do it.
You better be 100% right.
You're 100. I mean, that's the realm I live in. Todd's on the. If me and Todd are on the same team, I'm hitting 8th, Todd's hitting 3rd. Like, sorry, Todd can ask for this one. He can check it. He can learn that zone. Me, I need that. Like, ooh, he kicked that one. Sometimes it doesn't even matter. I'm probably even swinging at it, so it doesn't even matter.
They're like, Kratz is up. Hold the red card.
All day.
We are delighted to have Astros manager Joe Espada with us on FT right now at Astros camp. Joe, how you doing? How's camp? And how's the fact that you've got a few guys there that you didn't expect to be there? If I'm being real, we'll get to Pena, but I'm even saying Altuve, Craig, etc. You've got your core there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on the shows, guys. We're doing really well. Camp is going well. And like you mentioned, we have all the boys in camp, which is great. Just to build these guys, not only for the season, but continue to build our focus in getting back to the postseason. So having our core and the impact they have not only on the playing field, but also messaging inside the clubhouse is important. You mentioned Jeremy. We got the news yesterday. He's gonna be out for a little bit here. So we're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks and see how the finger is healing. But right now he's going to be doing everything with us. He's going to be taking ground balls. We're going to keep him on the basics just to make sure that once the finger heals, we could hit the ground running and he won't be missing too much time.
Joe, we get obsessed with opening day, but does this look like an injury that even if it's not opening day, will not hold him back for too much after that? You know what I'm saying? If somebody misses 2-3 games in June, it's not a big deal. But it's like if Jeremy Pena misses the first 2 games of the season and then he's back over the weekend or whatever it is. So can you give us a glimpse of the timetable and the process of not rushing just because it's opening day?
Right. And you know what? The fact that, we gave him, he had 2 weeks here with us. He's took like almost 15 at bats. He went to the DR. He got some at bats there. And also Jeremy comes to camp in incredible physical shape. So he is pretty well built up. Now it's all about letting the finger heal, and we'll wait as long as it takes for having him back in the lineup. We do have some really good players in our roster that can hold the fort as we get our shortstop back. But this is something that we're going to be really smart about. There's no reason to rush this process because we want to make sure that we have Jeremy for the long haul. This is a marathon, and we know how to run this marathon, and we want to make sure that we don't come out of the gates rushing this in a sprint, and we get ourselves in a position where this could come back and affect them during the season.
Guys, I'll vouch for what just Joe said about him being in great shape. I saw him in the clubhouse. This dude is jacked.
Yes.
Like he is in great shape. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be ready. Obviously, you don't want to see your starting shortstop go down and have to miss any time. But what does Carlos Correa feel about the situation? Because I'm assuming he's going to step in to be the shortstop now.
Yeah. Once the 2 weeks, we still don't know the status of Jeremy, right, for opening day. But if the case is that he will need more time, Carlos Correa will step in and be our shortstop. And we all know how good of a shortstop Carlos Correa is. So once we get going here, we'll get Carlos some starts at shortstop. I continue to play Nick Allen at short. We have Isaac Paredes that will play third base. Is that the case? But we do have the players in camp to be able to sustain and be able to move forward as we wait for Jeremy.
Hey, Joe, this has been one of the hottest topics even before the injury. The Astros have too many good infielders. The infield's logjam that's been going on here, and how there might be one or two guys on the bench if everyone's healthy that should be playing every day. So isn't this what you and Dana Brown were referring to? Unfortunately, in our game, injuries do occur. And when you can plug in a guy like Paredes who doesn't, who can or should play every day, right, boom, there you go. He's at third base at short if Pena's not ready to go, right?
Yeah, and that's been, what Dana and I have been, talking to not only our players, but messaging to the fans and media that, injuries do happen. We learned that last year. And, I don't see Paredes as a plug-in guy. This is an all-star. This guy is an everyday player. That we do have, a plethora of really good players, and they all need to be in the lineup. Absolutely. And we'll find at bats for all these guys. We have it, we use the DH spot just to get some guys some at bats. I will ask Jordan to play some left field so we could keep the DH spot open and fluid to get some of these guys in there. But this is a perfect example of how you never have enough good players on your team. You want to have a group of players that can step in and play anytime. And the most important thing for me is about messaging and communicating with these players. These players, they want to know their role. They know they're everyday players. They want to contribute. And my job as a manager is to make sure that I'm transparent with that with them at all times. And I'm always doing that with not only them, but every player in that clubhouse.
So, Joe, what was that communication process like with someone like Isaac, who was in trade rumors? And it's an easier convo for front offices to have when it's the off season and they're exploring options. How have you been able to thread the needle, and even before this injury, have a conversation with someone like him and say, hey, if everyone's healthy from the jump, this might not be the dream for you, but things will shake out?
Yeah. And listen, and these conversations that happens throughout the winter, and these are conversations that is my responsibility to communicate with the players. The front office, they have a job to do, which is put together the best team possible. And my job is to not only to give input and my opinion about that process, but communicate with the players about what we are doing, because I'm the one who's leading the charge out there, and he's in charge of messaging and keeping everyone aligned and focusing our season. And my message to these guys is, listen, you cannot control the rumors. We can control what happens in that clubhouse. Our mission is to get back in the postseason. And this is how we're going to do that. And that's where my focus is every day I'm in that clubhouse. What happens, what happens in the office, happens in the office, but we can control how we get on the field and our daily approach, and how we go about our business.
I want to go on a little pitching here. Tatsuya Mai, talk to me a little bit about him and what you've seen so far. Should these Houston Astro fans get really excited about a guy like this?
Sorry, Todd. Imai, you mentioned? Is that
Yes.
Imai? Yeah, they should be fired up about him. Todd, not only what you're going to get on the mound performance, but he brings he's got this personality that I have never seen out of a Japanese player. You and I, we were around Masahiro Tanaka when he was in New York, and this is a completely different guy, right? Tanaka is a competitor. He really wanted the ball. So there's those similarities, but this guy he will show his emotions on the mound. He's all about, being super funny in the clubhouse. He's got a personality that really, I wasn't expecting when I first met him, but he fits right in. He's super excited to be with the Astros. And I think this is going to be someone that we're going to be talking a lot throughout the summer.
So, Joe, there's always that transition period for when the foreign players come here, especially Japanese players. How has he been able to adjust? I know he has an interpreter here, but adjusting to the American culture and this clubhouse.
Yeah, you know what? One thing that I noticed is he's very observant. He sits around the clubhouse. He sees how people prepare themselves, how Hunter Brown does it. When they throw their bullpen, he's always asking questions. So he's always watching. He's always asking questions. For me, it's more for him to understand, okay, it's every 5 days, every 6 days, adjusting to our process, but also us adjusting with him, helping him adjust. If he needs an extra day, we want feedback from him. Just making just baseballs, right? He's using a completely different baseball. That's something that we are looking into. How can we help him with that? The running game here in the U.S. He feels there's more action on the bases. So how can we help him running? With the running games, pickoff moves. Learning defense behind him, the fundamentals, all those things are things that he's always constantly asking questions to him. So we're helping him through that process.
Joe, were you surprised when you saw the contract he ended up with? Nobody's going to cry and be like, oh no, he only ended up with this kind of money. But the point is, a lot of people thought he was going to be, $150 million man, something like that. And he'll have an opportunity early on to opt out and make more money if that's the case. But are you surprised that the league didn't look at him in the way that maybe some prognosticators did? And do you think that will create any type of chip on his shoulder?
You know what? I can't speak for him on how he feels about the contract and all that. I do know this. I do give credit to our front office because this happened really quickly. I remember this New Year's Eve. Dana calls me. He said, Joe, what do you got on Imai? And we have early conversations in the offseason about Imai. But we've heard about what it was going to take to sign him. So when we did our rankings, he was in top of our list, but obviously the money could have been a factor in us signing him. But you guys know well, our owner is always all hands in, all hands on deck. If this is a player that can help us, he's willing to make it happen. And in a matter of hours, Imai, and Houston Astro, something that Imai also said was like he wants to beat the teams who have those well-known Japanese players. And I give him credit because that's exactly who we want in our team. Someone who wants to create an environment, an impact in a club where, listen, I want to step up and I want to be known as one of the best. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And Imai made it known very, that he wants to win, and this is a winning environment. I'm just ecstatic to have him in our club.
You have a new hitting coach in Victor Rodriguez. Can you talk a little bit about his approach and what hitters are talking about and how he is relatable to the hitters right now for the Astros moving forward?
Yeah, Todd, for me, it's about simplicity. This game, I think hitting is really hard. Todd, you were a really good hitter. And I remember having conversations with you about hitting, and it continues to get harder and harder every year that goes by because, people are throwing harder. Stuff is getting nastier. You have to make adjustment pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat. But there is something about hitting where the simpler you can make it, I think the more you can prepare to have some success, right? This is a game of adjustments. This is a game of fundamentals. This is a game about competing at the plate. And Victor is all about making things simple. How can we simplify an approach? How can we simplify the process? He's been around some really good hitters in his career. And I wanted to have someone who could lead the charge, and if the messaging is, listen, you guys are really good hitter, but let's not forget about what hitting supposed to be like. We are a team that when we do well, we take pitches, we drive the ball, and we pass the baton. We got away from that, and I think Victor is the right guy to get us back on track.
While we're on the topic of hitting, let's talk about one of your best hitters in Yordan Alvarez. And I've heard you talk about how to preserve him over the last couple months. So I'm going to ask the question this way. If it was up to Joe Espada, how many games would Yordan Alvarez play in the outfield?
I'm not going to give you the number, but what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give you the number. One thing I learned in this job is that when you go in with a plan, there's a plan A, there's a plan B, but I was looking into plan C, plan D last year with so many injuries, right? And what the messaging to Yordan and to our guys are, like, Yordan is going to play left field. When he's in left field, we are able to have some other guys stay in the lineup, use the DH spot to get some of those guys some at bats and keep everyone healthy and fresh. But Yordan also loves to play left field, and when he plays left field, is actually the numbers show that he is a very productive player offensively, because he's not only thinking about his at bats, he can go out to the outfield and clear his mind and help the team in a different ways. And Yordan enjoys playing left field. So I've always keep that in mind when it comes to how often Yordan is going to play left field.
Hey, last thing from me. How's that ankle feeling? 2016 was a big year. I just want to make sure we're still stable with the ankle. 17.
Hey,
is that ankle stable? Or you have to wear an ankle brace, when
it's stable. Do you know that the players bring that up, and man. I watched the video with them, because it was, you could never, when you put the Yankee uniform on, it's like you're always on that big stage, and people never forget. And you go on YouTube, and there's millions of people that watched it. I'm like, man, this couldn't happen at a worse, place, because they keep bringing it up. Another video that these guys always play here when we go over cuts and relays. There was that relay throw from Reddick to Correa to get Garner at third base in a 17 LCS. When we go over in our fundamentals, we go over cuts and relays. They use that video there to show how you supposed to execute a relay. And I remind these guys, every time you guys put this on the TV, I'm the one who's waving Garner over to come to third base. Yeah. And I always, remember, man, I was looking for a hole in the ground that day just to dig myself in there, because it was such a well executed relay. But good teaching moments. But Todd, I still laugh at those moments, and it was fun, man. It was fun those days that we were together there in New York, for sure.
I can confirm that he's got some fancy shoes on with no ankle brace, so he's good to go. And one last thing, Joe, like when you said that Todd is a really good hitter, our chat just went crazy with how great of a hitter was. He says Hall of very good. He was a great hitter.
He was a good hitter. Todd was one of those guys, back to ball skills. I remember, Todd, that there was this swing where it was like ass out, and he threw the barrel there, and that ball found the right field seats. Like, Todd had a way to grind up bats. He was super competitor. And I always appreciate, how hard he went and how hard he played the game. So I've always had a lot of respect for the way he went about his business.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
also
Thank you.
appreciate you very much
Yeah.
too for joining us,
All right,
Joe. Good luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And hope to see you again.
Yeah, you got it, man.
If the Astros were to keep this infield configuration going into opening day, what kind of problems do you think that could create for Joe Espada, for Dana Brown, for the guys that have to manage 26 pretty big egos inside of a major league clubhouse?
Chandler, it does create problems. And I know fans don't necessarily see this the way we do because we're the ones in the clubhouse talking to people. And we understand clubhouse dynamics. I'm not saying we're perfect and we have a perfect track record of reading situations. But generally speaking, as you said, when you have this kind of surplus and when you're saying, well, we'll get them all 100 to 140 games, whatever the numbers might be, easier said than done. Now, the one thing they have in their favor here, if you want to keep all these guys, is someone's probably going to get hurt. Someone's going to need time off their feet, whatever the case might be. That's a heck of a thing to count on. And when you enter a season, you want things a little bit more clear cut. And right now, it's hard to see how they would be clear cut. And you ask about the manager, Joe Espada. He's the guy that's got to deal with all this. He's the guy that has to divvy out the playing time and manage the egos. And it is not always an easy thing to do. Would it rip up the team to have this continue? I don't know that it would rip up the team. Is it an uncomfortable form of dynamic? Yes, it is. And everyone involved knows it. Paredes knows it. Joe Espada knows it. The other infielders know it as well.
The Inside Scoop is engineered by Fastenal, where industry meets innovation. Go to fastenal.com for more information. Let's talk right now with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Oh, it's a party. 5-box party here right now. Ken, good to talk to you, and we're excited to listen to you on the Fox broadcast along with Mr. Pierzynski. So I'll ask the same question I asked to AJ before he left. How cool is this moment for you in terms of being around so many superstars, right? It even seems like it's elevated from the all-star level where many of these guys are there, but this is a competitive environment and they're all in the same clubhouse.
Scott, it's very cool. And I've said this for a while since the 2023 tournament. That was one of the highlights of my career. And I've covered Olympics and Super Bowls, of course, World Series and NBA Finals and all of that. But that tournament was so electric. It was so much fun. The games were so good that I will never forget it. And in fact, it seems to me it will be hard pressed for this tournament to be as good as that one was. But you're right. The U.S. team has both Cy Young winners. They have the MVP of the American League, and they have the two guys who finished second in each MVP race. And those are just some of their superstars. And then you look at the Dominican Republic team, tons of superstars. Japan, of course, has its great history in this tournament and just great players as well. So Yes, it is a lot of fun, and I am greatly looking forward to it again.
You were hanging out with Team USA, talking to them in the clubhouse, on the field. Who's the most underrated or overlooked player on a team full of stars?
The big answer would be Bobby Witt Jr., because I still don't believe fans around the country have a great understanding of who he is and what he does. He plays in Kansas City. They don't get as much media attention. They're not on television as much as some other teams. But the proper answer probably right now is Roman Anthony. And Roman Anthony, we saw him burst onto the scene last year. He's got the big extension. He's 21 years old. And unlike Alex Bregman in 2017 and Bobby Witt Jr. in 2023, he's the designated young guy, but he is going to play. That's the difference. So I would say right now he's the guy kind of to watch in that regard, Erik, but even Roman Anthony is not exactly an unknown.
Hey, Ken, so you mentioned the players to watch, but what about, is there a sleeper team from one of these countries that I think we should keep our eyes on?
Danny, I'll give you two, and I'm not as well versed in these rosters as I would be perhaps major league rosters. Let's hope I'm well versed on those. But Canada has a really good team, even without Freddie Freeman, and Italy with Vinny Pasquantino and Aaron Nola and some of the other players that they have, the other major leaguers, they could be interesting. I'm not sure either team will reach the quarterfinals, and it's going to be difficult in particular for Italy because Mexico and the U.S. are in their pool. But it would not be a shock if either of those teams kind of pulled off an upset or two here.
Let's talk a little about the one and only Shohei Ohtani off to the start of what I would dream a dream start. It's like he's never left. He just hits and hits and absolutely hits. He lives for this stage. How do you see this playing out for Japan and Shohei Ohtani moving forward?
I expect it will play out well, Todd. Usually does, right? They've won the tournament 3 times, Japan has, and Shohei Ohtani might not pitch this time, but his sheer presence seems to have a galvanizing effect on that team, as you would expect it would. Samurai Japan, the last time they were in this situation, playing the U.S. in the final, Shohei Ohtani gave a speech to his teammates, and we don't necessarily hear from him very often, certainly not in English, and what he says is pretty sanitized usually. But what he told his teammates then was, hey, don't idolize them, meaning U.S. Don't look at them like, oh my gosh, we cannot beat them. No, we're going to go on the field to beat them. And sure enough, they did. So his sheer presence alone means an awful lot for that team. And of course, Yamamoto and Murakami and all the others that they have will help along the way as well.
You're in Houston right now for the USA-Mexico bracket. Have you heard anything about the other teams kind of changing their approach to say, if we can beat Mexico, we can get in? If we can beat, so maybe not necessarily throwing their number one, their ace right out of the gate to be able, or against America where people are like, oh, they're not throwing their best pitcher against the United States because this is a tournament bracket. Have you heard anything around those lines?
Not really, Erik. The most interesting thing I heard somewhat along those lines was this morning from Jazz Chisholm Jr. Was talking to him, and of course he's playing for Great Britain. He's a native of the Bahamas, part of the British Empire. That's how that works. He also has a great-grandmother who is British. So he was saying that there's been a lot of talk in Yankee camp, trash talk, of course, between Judge and Bednar from the U.S. team and Goldschmidt and him. And he has basically said, we're going to shock the world. And that's Jazz. You know how he talks. But Great Britain did have their first win in the last tournament over Colombia. They've got Harry Ford. They've got Jazz. They've got the Beck brothers. So who knows? You never know that what might happen in this tournament. I wouldn't expect any of these teams, even Italy, is going to be above the U.S. or Mexico. But certainly that is their intent. And Italy's got a veteran major league seasoned coaching staff with Francisco Zervelli as their manager. Posada is on their staff as well, and a number of others that we've heard of. So it's going to be interesting to see how that team plays.
Hey, Ken, when this tournament gets rolling and it gets international attention, the story always pops up about how MLB can expand more internationally. And I think they've done a great job in Japan. I mean, Japan baseball is everything there right now. And a lot of that has to do with Ohtani and some others with their success. But what about a spot like the Dominican Republic? I felt like they stole the show this week with their exhibition games and how much of a party it looked like. And saw one article, and I think it was Front Office Sports this morning, saying, hey, MLB would love to play some games there. So your thoughts on what we can learn from this tournament and how we can at least try to get some more international games? I'm pretty sure you're a fan of like the specialty games and doing more of those anyway, right?
Of course. And those games have been a lot of fun, at least to be a part of from a coverage standpoint. I don't know that the games in Europe and London have had that much of an impact on growing baseball in England. Great Britain's performance here will likely have a greater impact on that. It just goes that way. I remember those games in London, it seemed like it was mostly US fans who traveled over to see their favorite teams play and expats. At the same time, this is a growing international event. And if there is no participation in the Olympics in 28, which there very well might be, that's something MLB is working on, then this event will get only bigger and bigger because it is baseball's Olympics. Now, as for playing games in the Dominican Republic, I would love if that happened. We saw, as you said, Scott, just what it means down there. It's not unlike Puerto Rico or Mexico or some of the other locales for these tournament games in the past. So maybe in the future that will happen. I would imagine the question is the stadium big enough? Are the press facilities adequate? And all of these different questions. But that is maybe the biggest baseball hotbed in the world right there with Japan and the US. So why not go there?
Do you think that Major League Baseball, WBC, and the insurance issues will get in the way? Because when I watch the Dominican Republic games, they're there to see the players. And if we can't have players after the age, I'm not sure what it was, guys were getting cut off at age like 35 or 37.
Yep.
We can't see those players go to those sites, even if they're not integral parts of the team. They're just more like those figureheads. Is there a way that they can figure that out for the upcoming WBCs to keep it a fan event?
Certainly, Erik, insurance was tighter this time around. And you're right, that 37 cutoff did leave some players behind, Miguel Rojas probably most prominently. So I don't know if that gets any better the next time we have the WBC. And of course, it would have to be negotiated into the CBA, just the mere event, because it is something that is a joint effort of MLB and the Players Association. Insurance is insurance, and MLB can't control what its insurance carrier views as adequate or not adequate for a player. So I don't know that that gets better, and that's probably going to be an obstacle going forward as well. But at the same time, we did get in this tournament most of the best players who wanted to play, and that is a triumph. You look at the U.S. team, and it's unlike any that they've put together. In 06, there was a really good team. I remember that. That was the first WBC. In 17, the U.S. team won, but the 17 team was not nearly what this team is in terms of star power. So it's a problem for sure. It was a big problem for Puerto Rico, but going forward, I don't know how you solve it necessarily.
Ken, good stuff. We're looking forward to the broadcast. You, AJ, and the whole group over there on Fox, have fun. And then for everyone else, FT fan, we'll be right back. And on YouTube, we'll stay on longer to do more WBC previewing.
What teams need a good third baseman, first baseman who can take 7 pitches in at bat? Who's out there for the Astros to be able to float him as a trade target?
Tyler, that's the problem. It seems to be only one team right now that has that specific a need. Other teams could create an opening by doing other things, of course, but the Red Sox are the team they've been talking to, not lately, but they've been talking to them about this whole scenario. The Red Sox actually have what the Astros need, a left-handed hitting outfielder. It would be most likely Duran and not Abreu. And it's so interesting that the Red Sox have the exact opposite problem. The outfield surplus, the infield shortage. The Astros, of course, the infield surplus, the outfield shortage. It seems to me this is a pretty obvious match, but clearly that hasn't gotten to the finish line yet, if it's even in percolation right now.
Hey, we're back. Let's do Kratz Hatz real quick and also let everyone know we're going to stay a few more minutes here to finish up. We're going to say bye to the TV crowd, and then we'll stay a few minutes to talk about the logo on your hat.
I mean, come on. Ooh. Team Puerto Rico's taking on Colombia. You got Lugo versus Quintana. New Era sent me a bunch of the WBC, all the WBC hats. So how can I not be excited about this? Wow.
All right, let's talk WBC for a bit, and it is presented by Fox One. Fox has all the games, 47 WBC games, and if you have the Fox One app, then you can watch all of them. So first off, Todd Father, let's start with Shohei Ohtani. He looks ready for the season. Grand slam for Team Japan. They ended up pouring on 10 runs in one inning against Chinese Taipei, and they won 13-0. They bang that one after 7. So there's rules: 10 runs, 10-run lead through 7, it's done. 15-run lead through 5, it's done. So Japan mercy ruled them.
That's how they should do it in MLB too. I think that is fantastic rule. Besides the point, he's unbelievable. This guy is absolutely incredible. A triple shy of the cycle. I mean, he's out in front on a breaking pitch and he still hits it over the wall. He did the same thing last year too, way out in front and found a way to flip one over. Just do this every time he's up. Excuse me. Just put it up. I mean, he is just a man among boys. It's just absolutely incredible what he does. Japan looks really good, facing a really good squad there too. So it's like, okay, is it Japan's turn? Is it Dominican's turn? Is it USA's turn? There's a lot of really good teams out there. And if you're Shohei Ohtani, you're feeling really good about yourself.
Do you consider walking him with the bases loaded?
Yeah, depending on the score. Yeah, why not? Early in the game. Even if it's 0-0, walk him.
It's unconventional.
Exactly.
But hey, I don't want to discount there are, I mean, the lineup is not stacked top to bottom, but I would say at least half the lineup has some pretty legit big leaguers, but they're not.
They got culture. They got culture, man. They know each other. They play with each other. So they're fine with that.
Speaking of culture, so these were the chants for Seiya Suzuki out in Japan. Oh, wait, hold up. Not yet. But Seiya Suzuki, we've got, what's his name? Masataka Yoshida. Who else? Okamoto, Murakami. There are names out there in Japan who will make their way over here to the States once we get deeper into the tournament too. Hey, there's a chance that, I mean, Japan would have to lose basically to Korea and then put themselves in trouble. Australia did win both of their games. They got the job done. Curtis Mead had a big 3-run home run for them over the Czechs. So Australia is still alive. But generally you look at this pool and you're like, Japan's going to advance, and then either what?
Murakami's not playing, right?
Oh, maybe not. No, there was a Murakami that I saw. I mean, I was half asleep, but I was watching.
I'm saying the one that's already over here is not. I don't think it's the same.
You might be. I should know this, but no, I think it is. Anyway, let's throw it to Suzuki. Sounds like just every other Thursday. No, I'm kidding. That was cool.
It is. Every game that I played in Japan, whether it was in 2014 with the MLB All-Stars or it was in 2019 with the qualifying team for the Olympics, I'm sure Todd can say it in 21. Like when you play Japan, when you play against teams or guys on your team that the fans know, they have something like that. I mean, it's not just a chant, it's choreographed. But the amazing thing to me was it's captured in that video from the outfield. It's only the fans from the outfield. The fans that aren't in the bleachers, like around basically from what I would consider left field down over to right field behind home plate, they sit in their seats and they stand up and they cheer whenever something happens. But the bleacher creatures go hard.
And yeah, I wasn't seeing things. I have not gotten much sleep lately, but that was the Munetaka Murakami who's playing in that tournament. I do remember what you're saying, though, Kratz. I think at one point he actually you might be confusing your Japanese stars. No, Okamoto's playing for sure. I saw him in there. You might be thinking of Amai, and Amai's on the pitcher pool, so he's not in the first round. No,
I love it. No, I thought it was one of the position players, but I love it. I love it that they're in there playing. It's kind of like a little showcase for fans who have never seen them play. It's a little showcase. I remember we were talking about Seiya right there. I remember playing against Seiya in 19 before he came over, and I was like, this guy could be a problem in the big leagues. And it's been a little bit of a transition for him, but I thought he should have been an all-star last year.
Hey, I want to show a funny tweet that someone put out there about how you'll see some guys pop up who's like, oh, he's a mechanic and he throws 79 miles an hour. It was a good tweet. And then it actually is still happening. There's that one dude who, again, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name correctly, but who struck out Ohtani last time. He's an electrician, a Czech electrician. So he struck out Ohtani a few years ago and he was still going and he was picking up whiffs left and right. So the tweet, let me see if I can find it real quick. Kind of riffing a little bit here, but the tweet was just pointing out how cool the World Baseball Classic will be when you'll suddenly see his name's Andre Satoria. 6 whiffs or strikeouts on pitches slower than 72 miles an hour in his WBC return. And a guy, Jordan Moore on Twitter, wrote, I love the World Baseball Classic because it'll be like, here's 32-year-old Benjamin Smith, a journeyman from Djibouti, career highlights 4 spring training appearances, normally a member of the Yokohama Flying Fish of the Banana Ball League. Anyway, he'll face Shohei Ohtani.
It's true. It's true.
Good luck.
You never see it. But maybe you know what? I always tell my high school kids this. Guys will come back to the dugout. They're like, he's throwing too slow. It's so hard to hit. I'm like, well, what if you face somebody throwing slow later on? So maybe if Shohei strikes out against the electrician, maybe every team should have the one specialty Shohei pitcher. The position player just kind of lobs it in there. How many times do big league hitters get big hits off of position players. Just saying.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that strategy.
All right, I don't either, but
Yeah,
I'm always looking outside the box.
Maybe every country has like an electrician who made 4 spring training appearances or something, and he's not that good, but it's like just in between where he's not just throwing lobs up there, but it's so damn slow that you can't time up the speed. Maybe that's the trick, Danny. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be in the 70s, low 70s, because sometimes when the position players get out there, they're throwing 45 to 50. And that you can kind of wait on, but 72 is tough to wait on when you've been seeing 102 all game.
Yep.
Hey, you always want to change speeds. So the speed is fierce right now with the WBC schedule. Here it is as we're about to say goodbye. So you can see right now Netherlands is playing Venezuela. That's the lit game going on. So Fox One app for that one. If you've got it, it started with Acuna first pitch, double. Arise drove him home in that inning. And then Drew Jones, son of Andrew, playing for Netherlands, tied up the score. So last I checked, it was 1-1 in that one. Mexico's playing Great Britain now, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Nicaragua, led by Dusty Baker, the manager of that team, against the star-studded Dominican Republic team. The headliner in the U.S. is USA against Brazil this evening with Dante Pichette Jr. and his crazy haircut. Chinese Taipei against Czechia is the game this evening. That's over in Japan, a few more days over in Japan with that pool. So start your 7-day free trial today for Fox One. They're airing every single World Baseball Classic game. So there are no excuses to say, hey, I can't catch this. There is a way. Anyone, anywhere in the US, just go get the app and go watch every single WBC game. They have big NASCAR races and IndyCar this weekend, football during the football seasons for both NFL and college football. All right, fam, that was fun. We did it. All 4 of us Brady Bunchers in a screen. Just me, Kratz with his giddy smile for his new New Era hats for WBC. Danny, you crushed it out there, but our Hall of Pretty Good guy is really feeling himself today. you're
I'm the only one sweating though.
You are.
Yeah,
you are.
I know. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Hall of Pretty Good doesn't sweat. He's the most interesting man on FT. Happy Friday, people. There he is.